ABC loses millions of dollars in advertising after debate fallout, guys. Now, this is the headline that caught my attention today. As the true winners and losers of the ABC presidential debate, they're finally coming to light, guys. Now, let me first clarify that this headline is satire. It's meant to poke fun at the news, but I really think it shows just how the American people are looking hard at this presidential debate between Donald Trump and Kamala Harris, and they're seeing that, wait a minute, something wasn't right about the whole thing. And honestly, guys, I wouldn't be surprised if this article were to predict the future when it comes to ABC's future as a network. So let's just kind of indulge a little bit here and let's see how that hypothetical situation would look like for the media giant. Let me read the article for you guys. In a development that can only be described as the peak 2024 chaos, ABC has found itself $27 million poorer after losing 5 major advertisers in the wake of the latest presidential debate. The network, once a beacon of impartiality and trusted news, is now left clutching its pearls and its bank account after an explosive evening of real-time fact-checking, heated exchanges, and the collapse of the corporate goodwill. And hey, check out what multimillionaire investor Gary Cardone, brother of Grant Cardone, had to say about this. He said the best way to push back is to stop spending money with those that take actions against freedom of speech, and pretty much any other rights of our Constitution and Bill of Rights. And honestly, guys, he makes a lot of sense there. Kind of like my uncle's been telling me, vote with your wallet. Now, speaking of, guess who Americans still trust more with the economy even after the debate? That's right, guys, former President Donald Trump. I mean, are we honestly even surprised here? Even CNN had to admit in their own poll. They explain it here on Fox.
So here's the question that should make Trump feel good. Who do you trust who's better on the economy? Trump wins by a substantial amount. Not as much as over Joe Biden, but what Trump's job is to do is to pin the economy, Bidenomics, on the vice president, which should not be tough. So a lot of times you have surrogates who want to be president or want to be senator, and you got to force them to adapt the record of your party. You're actually asking her to take responsibility for her administration.
Right.
So that shouldn't be that hard, unless she's going to say, I'm so glad I'm out from underneath Joe Biden. And let me tell you what I wanted to do as opposed to what's been done.
And that number is from Arizona, Georgia, Nevada, and North Carolina. Those are the swing states. And I think that matters. Do you want a candidate that's going to be out there campaigning to make sure that you get taxes? We still have not heard from Kamala Harris on where she stands on the Trump taxes. Actually, we did. The old Kamala Harris says that she's going to get rid of that. So when she goes to Georgia, is she going to tell the business community that she's going to raise their taxes? Or will she campaign like they did the last time and say, your vote is going to be depressed, even though we had a historic election of more turnout at any other time?
Now, I've been reading your comments, guys, and apart from those who say that it will be their third time voting for Donald Trump, I'm actually happy to see that we're also seeing some converts coming into the fold here. Now, last I read, guys, there was a senior who voted Democrat for 74 years, but now they're saying that they're voting for Donald Trump this time around. Anybody else have a similar story? Yeah, I mean, I get it, guys. Vice President Kamala Harris, she was all over the place in that debate. The different focus groups that reacted to her and Donald Trump and so on, too.
How many say she did not meet your expectations? Okay, so she won, but she didn't necessarily meet your expectations. What did she not do? Yeah.
She wasn't very specific when asked certain things. She skirted around certain issues, but she knows how to pull at your heartstrings. She knows how to be dramatic in a way that will touch the heart of Americans while avoiding the hot button questions.
Okay.
Avoiding the tough questions. Pretty much par for the course for the Democratic candidate, if you ask me, guys. And did you notice Donald Trump called Kamala Harris a Marxist communist? But she didn't exactly disagree with him. What's up with that? Meanwhile, Trump supporters are closing ranks and emerging more united after the lopsided ABC debate. Even Gen Z voters showing up for the president in a major way, guys. Check this out.
Young people are going towards him. They know that the economy was way better when he was president. He has a plan to tackle the housing crisis with how bad the prices are. And a lot of young people, especially like people like us, we're looking for a home and we can't afford one. So that's a big issue for people, our generation, Gen Z. And like you said, specifically young men are gravitating more towards the president. Doing things like interviews with Jake Paul or Logan Paul or whoever it was, going to UFC events. So I think doing stuff like that really appeals to younger guys like us.
And I mean, Donald Trump's on TikTok. He's reaching out to the younger audiences on there. It makes sense. And I think more people gravitate towards him because they realize under President Trump, the world was almost stable. He didn't start any wars. He's the one that brought foreign relations, and he kept China in check, he kept Russia in check, he kept North Korea in check. And I think people strive to want that stability back, because the last thing we need right now is another world war, a confrontation with China. I think people realize Donald Trump is the peace that we need in this world.
Look, guys, they get it. People are waking up to the truth about Kamala Harris and the Democrats. That's all just a facade.
Donald Trump made a strong closing statement by saying, why didn't they do all the things that she's proposing during the 3.5 years that they've been in office? And Biden did this entire moderate stance back in 2020, and she's trying to do it again in 2024, but she didn't talk about her policy changes between 2020 and 2024. Her whole centrist moderate stance is just a facade.
I mean, just look at how this crowd in the Shanksville Volunteer Fire Department on September 11th, 9/11, reacted to Joe Biden and Kamala Harris compared to how they reacted to former President Donald Trump when they walk in. They definitely know what's what.
There he is.
Thank you very much. It's an honor. And I know I followed somebody else that was here before, but I heard it wasn't such a big applause. That's okay. That's the way we want it. Thank you very much. And we're going to be with you all day. We're going to do a little thing called, see that young man? He's got MAGA. Called Make America Great Again. We're going to do it, and we're going to do it fast. Because what's happening now is unacceptable, I think. Would everybody agree with that? What do you think?
Yes, absolutely.
How did you like him when he came over? Did you say hello? Did you
He stole his hat.
How would you describe that, guys? A lukewarm welcome for the president and the VP compared to a blazing hot interest for Donald Trump that was met with cheers? I mean, the difference was night and day between how they greeted Kamala Harris and Joe Biden compared to Donald Trump. Like the man said, no more third debate. As anybody can plainly see, Donald Trump does not have to prove his vision for America. And many would agree that the last 4 years under the Biden-Harris regime has been a complete disaster. What do you guys think? Hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you guys are liking the information that we're sharing in this update. And we're about halfway through this video, so plenty more where this came from. Stick around, we got a lot to share with you guys right now. So if anybody lost this presidential debate, it wasn't Donald Trump, it was ABC News actually. During the debate, ABC News moderators David Muir and Linsey Davis made the bold decision to fact check candidates in real time. But surprise, surprise, none of the fact checks were directed at Kamala Harris. Wonder why? All four of the moderators' live corrections were all made against Donald Trump. And some were quite subjective if you paid attention. I mean, you can easily compare this with the strategy of countless other moderators like Jake Tapper and Dana Bash, who choose to trust that voters can check facts on their own. You see, they acknowledge that political campaigns are often full of exaggerations, whether from Republicans or even from Democrats. Trump did get those fact checks, but what about Vice President Kamala Harris and her claims that could have easily warranted a correction? For example, she repeated a widely debunked claim about the racist Charlottesville rally that even Snopes debunked, and her comments on Donald Trump's bloodbath remark and the late-term abortion could have also been addressed. Davis even checked Donald Trump on that, but many say that it was somewhat of a dubious fact check. Commentators like Ann Coulter criticized the debate's fairness, with Coulter stating Donald Trump is having to fight all three other people on stage. I've never seen such an unfair debate. She said that the ABC debate was worse than Candy Crowley correcting Romney and then admitting that she was wrong hours after the debate. Now, honestly, guys, it's kind of surprising Republicans even agreed to a debate on ABC in the first place. I mean, for years, Trump-era conservatives have been urging the Republican National Committee to starve legacy news networks of their lucrative access to debates. This movement gained so much traction that RNC chairwoman Ronna McDaniel led the decision to withdraw from the storied Commission on Presidential Debates. Billionaire tech mogul and one of Donald Trump's biggest supporters, Vivek Ramaswamy, also said something about it in a primary debate last November. He took the opportunity to criticize the traditional debate format, suggesting instead that this should be Tucker Carlson, Joe Rogan, and even Elon Musk. I mean, could you imagine? According to Ramaswamy, we'd have 10 times the viewership asking questions that GOP primary voters actually care about, bringing more people into our party. Now, as for independents, their trust in the press is near record lows. And really, guys, the rise of independent journalists means that there are plenty of viable alternatives for both parties to consider. Like our channel right here. What would you guys say of us actually hosting someone from Donald Trump's campaign right here on our channel, guys? Hit the like button if you guys think that this would be a good idea. Even Donald Trump, who is undeniably skilled in media strategy, recently highlighted this massive shift during an interview on Lex Friedman's podcast. He said that politically, you have to see where the audience is and engage with them there. And that's when he mentioned that platforms like X are reaching massive audiences. He recalled a time when he joined Elon Musk for a Twitter Spaces session, and they got numbers like no one's ever heard before. For Trump, you wouldn't do that on radio. You wouldn't do those numbers. No matter how good a show you have, you wouldn't do those numbers on radio. You wouldn't do those numbers on television. So really, does Trump need the likes of ABC and CNN anymore? I think that debate just kind of showed us the answer. If you want more proof, just check out the latest poll showing that even though mainstream media thinks Kamala Harris won that debate, it did very little to convert voters in North Carolina. In fact, Donald Trump may have even gained in that particular battleground state. Trump edged out Harris 48.4% to 46% among likely voters, according to Trafalgar Group poll released after the debate. So the poll conducted September 11th and September 12th mirrors surveys from August that showed Donald Trump leading Kamala Harris by just 2 points, but suggest 2% of her voters may have actually switched camps despite this performance on the Philadelphia stage this week. Most of the 1,094 chose the Republican nominee when asked who they would vote for if the election for the president were to be held today. Now, just 3.1% of voters said that they're still undecided. Meanwhile, another 2.4% chose candidates other than Trump or Harris. Bottom line, guys, the Democratic boat is sinking, and they're just trying to hold on to pretty much anything to stay afloat. Too bad it's not going to change things for them in November, right, guys? Former Democrats RFK Jr. and even Tulsi Gabbard said it best when they blasted their one-time party at Arizona Christian University in Glendale. According to Bobby Kennedy, today, Democrats have become the party of war. It's become the party of surveillance. It's become the party of censorship. And for the former independent candidate, it's no longer the party that he recognized. Gabbard asked the question that many Americans have been wondering for a long time. How could I align with a party that stands for tyranny and war? For her, Democrats are now an elite cabal with warmongers. The Democratic representative said that the goal of the event and the Reclaim America tour is to point out the truth that this is not about Democrats versus Republicans. This is about our country. Now, according to her, this is about the people standing up for freedom. This is about the people standing up for peace. RFK Jr. pretty much said the exact same thing, that we need to bring America together. Now, hopefully, guys, this video, this community that we're growing right here on YouTube actually helps achieve that goal. And hey, watching this video is already a phenomenal first step to helping out too. The next best thing that you could do is drop a quick comment to show your support. So let's have our own rally right here on the YouTube channel on this video in the comments. What do you guys say?
I'm excited about electric school buses. I love electric school buses. I just love them. For so many reasons. Maybe because I went to school on a school bus. Hey, raise your hand if you went to school on a school bus, right?
That, folks, is the current Vice President of the United States of America. And she's going crazy over buses. And guess what? She's trying to become our next president. This is despite her going against her own words time and time again. She's just a flip-flopper. She's a chancleta. Now, I have here another Trump ad, and that absolutely proves just how disconnected she is from reality.
Everyday prices are too high. Food, rent, gas, back to school clothes. That is called Bidenomics. A loaf of bread costs 50% more today. Ground beef is up almost 50%. There's not much left at the end of the month. Bidenomics is working. The price of housing has gone up. It feels so hard to just be able to get ahead. And we are very proud of Bidenomics.
Again, another genius ad. And it shows the American people that whatever you're experiencing today, whether you're buying food, you're paying for rent, gassing up your car, or whatever it is that involves money, all of it can be attributed to Bidenomics. Bidenomics has literally changed all of our lives. And the person standing right next to President Joe Biden throughout all of this is none other than Kamala Harris. But if you ask them, the blame should be pinned on the former administration. All of the problems that you face with your finances should be blamed on Donald Trump. Now, I understand that both Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, they have their own challenges when it comes to public speaking. But to say Trump is the problem here, I don't know. It's a little bit far-fetched. And speaking of that, the defense for Kamala Harris before the debate even happens is already being spread. We've seen her go on these weird tangents whenever she speaks, so it's going to be real interesting to see what she actually says against Donald Trump. But if you ask this particular expert, Harris is actually a genius somehow. The problem is the crowd that misinterprets her. So basically, she's really, really smart, and we're all really, really dumb, according to this professor. I mean, think about it. Just what has Joe Biden and Kamala Harris done for the American people? It's a fair question to ask, given that one of them is running for president. This essentially means that whatever's happening right now will likely continue to happen for at least 4 more years. And it's an important question to ask because you got to compare it to what Donald Trump has done within his last term as president, making you ask yourself, which experience was better for you and for your family? In a recent campaign ad, Donald Trump reminds you that Joe and Kamala have really done for us.
We did it, Joe. Everyday prices are too high. It feels so hard to just be able to get ahead. And prices are still too high. We did it, Joe. For many families, there's not much left at the end of the month. Costs are still too high. A loaf of bread costs 50% more today than it did before the pandemic. Ground beef is up almost 50%. We did it, Joe. There's a serious housing shortage. In many places, it's too difficult to build, and it's driving prices up. We did it, Joe. That as the price of housing has gone up, the size of down payments have gone up as well. The bills add up. We did it, Joe.
That's right, guys. This is their legacy. And kudos to Donald Trump's team for capitalizing on this. Because to say that there's a lot of things wrong going on today is the same as blaming the current administration. Now, oddly enough, Vice President Kamala Harris is an integral part of the current leadership right here in our country. It's not like Joe Biden went rogue and then destroyed the nation by himself. And this is the dilemma for the Harris campaign. She's trying to win with a record that speaks for itself in a really bad way, for all the wrong reasons. In fact, the polls show that Donald Trump has an 83% chance of becoming the favorite to win this year. And this is said to happen just 24 hours after their first and probably only debate. We also have to admit that Kamala Harris isn't a very good speaker. Like, she's horribly bad. She almost borders on cringe whenever she does try and talk to us. I mean, just look at how she talks about buses.
I love my bus.
Now, if you guys want more content like this, I got another video already lined up waiting for you guys where we break down the debate even further and we hear commentary from Republicans like Florida Congressman Byron Donalds going off. Juicy stuff, guys. Make sure you check that video out right after this one. Click on my channel, go to the live, check that one out right now. As always, thank you guys so much for hitting the like button. Don't be a stranger. Subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, and I'll see y'all next time.